The Old Testament rituals were full of symbolic imagery that was fulfilled in Jesus. The Passover is pretty obvious because Jesus celebrated the Passover pretty much right before he died. And while he did it, he also instituted a new celebration in which he says he gives his body and blood, just like the Passover lamb was sacrificed and slaughtered. But one that we maybe don't think of as much as far as Old Testament rituals, celebrations, is Day of Atonement. The Day of Atonement is usually in Hebrew on your calendars, Yom Kippur. It shows up in September or October every year. But do we know as much about it? Do we pay as much attention to it? The Day of Atonement was the one day of the year where the high priest actually went into the most holy place, or the Holy of Holies, the only day in the year. And Yom Kippur, or Day of Atonement, was all about substitution. Now, the Jews did lots of sacrifices, so many sacrifices. They kept having to do sacrifices because they kept on sinning. The animals were not enough. The punishment was not being exacted in full. But the Day of Atonement foreshadowed a single substitute to carry all the guilt of the people. Jesus, who was too weak to carry his own cross to his own execution, was strong enough in righteousness to carry the guilt of all people, every sinner, every time period. God's grace is not cheap. We've all seen children or adults who are spoiled and bratty, and there's just no consequences for their destructive decisions. But God does not and cannot just look the other way when he sees sin. But according to Romans chapter 3, God presented Christ as a sacrifice of atonement through the shedding of his blood to be received by faith. He did this to demonstrate his righteousness because in his forbearance, he had left the sins committed beforehand unpunished. The punishment happens. It just doesn't happen to us. So we call Good Friday good because it is the Day of Atonement. A lesson from Leviticus chapter 16, verses 20 through 22. When Aaron has finished making atonement for the most holy place, the tent of meeting, and the altar, he shall bring forward the live goat. He is to lay both hands on the head of the live goat and confess over it all the wickedness and rebellion of the Israelites, all their sins, and put them on the goat's head. He shall send the goat away into the desert in the care of a man appointed for the task. The goat will carry on itself all their sins to a solitary place, and the man shall release it in the desert. This is the word of the Lord.